follow the system of racism, white supremacy better than some white folks.
Okay. We'll have Mr. Fuller answer. Mr. Fuller?
Well, I'm not disparaging people who have degrees or anything like that, but I'm saying, generally speaking, not just when it comes to collegiate material, but anything, ownership of a house or of a car, or having lots of money in the bank, or being a very smart person, or being able to do certain things that other people cannot do. The model prisoner thing, because we are all prisoners of war, regardless. Once you're in captivity, you're in captivity. And you should never, ever get away from thinking that you're not. That's a huge mistake on the part of any black person on the planet, to think that you are not a prisoner of war. And those who think that, they're not going to be on the case of not being a prisoner of war, because that's what white supremacy means. Supreme over non-white people. No exceptions to that. That you are classified as white, and you are authorized to dominate and mistreat people based on that person having color in his or her skin. That makes you eligible to be a white supremacist. And the system of white supremacy in all 9 areas of activity has taken root. It's not in the process of taking root. It is a running business. It is a successful business. The most successful business that the world has ever seen is called the system of white supremacy. It is the dominant government of the entire planet. There is no so-called government in existence that is more powerful than, in capital letters, the system of white supremacy. Not because Neely Fuller says so. Check it yourself. The white supremacist has the first and last word of the most powerful of the people of this planet. They decide what all non-white people are going to do, not going to do, better not do, etc. So in answer to the question, black people, all of us, everybody on the planet, according to the evidence, is subject to the system of white supremacy. So the answer to the question, a black person, what does a black person have to brag about? The answer to that question, very simple. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the code position, the counter-racist code, the sane code, because it's supposed to be sane, all right, based on logic. No black person should ever, under the system of white supremacy, brag about anything that's concerning him or her. Ever. You don't, that's the ugliest thing, that a black person can walk around on this planet, in this prison camp, called the system of white supremacy, bragging about anything, ever. I mean, not one word of bragging. You don't brag about nothing as a prisoner. What you do is go to that drawing board and try to figure out how you are going to dismantle this prison that you're in, called the system of white supremacy. And we haven't earned any kind of bragging rights at all for anything. I don't care what we invent. I don't care what we come up with. I'm talking about according to logic, not according to Neely Fuller. Prisoners are not in a position to brag. Strutting around in the prison yard, bragging. Look, my chains, my prison chains are shinier than yours. That's how we sound when we do any kind of bragging. I know more than you do. All the people over there in cell block C, they know more we are more collegiate than all the people in cell block B. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, we got bragging rights in somebody else's prison. We are the prisoners in a prison. And we're walking around saying, I have more sense than the other prisoner has. Well, you might have more sense than the other prisoner has. You might have more logic. You might know how to do things better. But you are what? You are equal to that other prisoner who doesn't know anything about anything and doesn't care about anything. Why? Because you are a prisoner of war. Prisoners of war are equal. And if you don't believe it, ask the people who run the prison.
Okay.
I mean, and they're the white supremacists, racist man and racist woman. When they come down through the cell block, you're wearing the same uniform. What's your prison uniform? The color of your skin. That's your prison uniform in the world of white supremacy, which is the entire world. So
right.
You don't have any business bragging ever about anything.
Okay.
And in answer to the caller's question about why do black people go around bragging about something, because they don't realize they're in prison, which is massive ignorance.
All right.
That's all. That's just ignorance. That's all.
Okay.
I mean, we're ignorant. You know, if I was doing it, if I'm, don't realize that I'm under the system of white supremacy, either I am or I'm not.
All righty. Let's take a call. Go ahead, caller. You're on with Mr. Fuller.
Good morning, Mr. Bobby and Mr. Fuller. Well, just going off what Mr. Fuller said, and we are dominated in the system of white supremacy, and dominated is a verb within itself, but it takes a lot of action and speech and a tremendous amount of thought. And thank you, Mr. Bobby, for coining that acronym, TSA. So it's no way, or it's not likely to know exactly how or what a person thinks. But I just want, my question for Mr. Fuller is, can he explain the importance of paying attention to, observing, and analyzing what white people say and do, and try to predict what they think? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, caller. Mr. Fuller?
Yes. In fact, in answer to the question, that's why I start this program off when people ask me, how am I? Mr. Bobby does. I say, I'm still learning. Black people should always be in a learning mode. Why? We are labeled as people who don't want to learn anything of constructive value. Nobody wants to be around us because we are not constructive. Because we have been trained not to be constructive. Trained by whom? The white supremacists. They train us, whether we realize that or not. So anytime we are trying to learn about what's going on and why, who's doing what, who are the most powerful people, how did they get that way, what is power, try to learn everything about, not just about that, but about everything in the known universe. That's what the white supremacists do. They will study, like I said in the textbook, the original copy. The white supremacists will go to the bottom of the ocean and pick out one grain of sand out of the bottom of the ocean, and probably pick the ocean to pick it out of, because he or she may have heard that they got a different type of sand at the bottom of that particular ocean that you don't usually see. And so they will go and get one grain of that one sand, one grain of sand on the bottom of that ocean, and put it under a microscope. So somebody like me will walk past and say, "Hey, Brian, what are you doing?" Say, "I'm studying this grain of sand." "Oh, you studying a grain of sand? Well, what for?" "Well, because I got it from the bottom of the ocean, and far as I know, nobody's ever seen a grain of sand like this before. But it is sand. We label it as sand. It's a type of sand, but it's different from general types of sand. Well, what are you studying it under the microscope for, Brian? Well, because I think that I should find out about it. Find out about it for what? Because it's there. It's in the universe with me. Well, what's that got to do with anything? Why are you sitting there looking at that under the microscope, man? I mean, come on, let's go party and whatnot. No, I'm going to study this grain of sand because it's here. And I might figure out in 1,000 years, if I'm not here, naturally, I pass it on to somebody else, and they figure out what is it doing here, because everything that's here means something. Mr. Jackson, Mr. Roberts, Mr. Henderson, whomever the black person they're talking to is, Mr. Fuller, since you asked, why am I studying this grain of sand? I say, oh, man, I ain't got no time for nothing like that. I mean, you sitting there looking at some grain of sand under a microscope. I mean, I'm going to a party, man. Forget this. So I'm out of here. Fuller's down the hall. But the white supremacist, if that's who he is, he sits there. If Brian is a white supremacist, he sits there and he studied that grain of sand day and night. Why? Because it's in the universe with him. And you know what? That's the white supremacist mind. They want to know everything about everything, not just some things, not by when the next party is going to be and where. They want to know everything about everything, every drop of gasoline. They want to know if the gasoline that you find under the ground in Maine is different from the gasoline that you find or the oil that you find under the ground in Yemen. They want to know that. And why is it different? And what can you use it for that would be different? They want to know that. And it doesn't make any difference how long it takes to find out. They are going to take as long as it takes to find out. But Neely Fuller, with his dumb self, will walk past a whole pile of sand and didn't even see it. Why? Because I'm busy doing one thing in answer to the caller's questions. I'm watching one thing more than I'm watching anything else on the planet, and that's other black people. Like I'm going to learn a whole lot doing that. I walk down the street looking for other black people to look at and evaluate them and make some type of judgment call on them, whether or not they should be in the hood or not, on my side of the hood, like that side of the hood is yours anyway, which they can move you anytime they get ready, which they're going to do next month with that regentrification program that they got you don't even know nothing about. You and your grandmother's fixing to get moved out, but you're getting ready to kill this guy because he crossed the street on your turf. And you don't own 2 inches of anything and never have since the beginning of white supremacy. But the white supremacists know this about us.
Okay. Let's take this phone call before we take our station break. Caller, you're on with Mr. Fuller. Go ahead, please.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Bobby, Mr. Fuller. I'm kind of glad y'all talking about this subject, sex, because there's this thing that's been on my mind these past couple of weeks. Just, going on social media, specifically Instagram, and just seeing the exploitation of the black woman, especially when it comes to her butt or ass, I guess you would say, and that's what I see all on my timeline, just females, black females, posing and just pictures of her butt, and it's like all I see, and I'm just like, dang, like, is this basically all we're good for? Is just, a physique and, and whatnot. And I understand, this goes back all the way back to slavery and how they exploited that black woman with the big bucks, Sarah Bartman. So basically, I just want Needy Fuller to kind of talk about the exploitation of the black woman and how it evolved from slavery on down to today.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. Mr. Fuller?
Well, if I understand what she's saying, the black female is being devalued, always has been. She's at the tail end of every line, and then the only thing about her is supposed to be whether or not she can work and bring in something for the black male so that he can pimp her. You know, black males, they depend on, hey, when they get locked up, what does the black male say? This real tough black male, king of the hood, I mean, he's the terror of the ghetto. Get in touch with my grandmother. Get in touch with your grandmother. Get in touch with your grandmother, Negro. You know, stop and think about that. Hey, somebody get in touch with my grandmother. Got all those tattoos, got all those muscles. Now he's behind bars because the white supremacists put him there. He ain't bad enough to deal with that. All right? I mean, he's the terror of the ghetto, got everybody eating out of his hand, and running from him in the ghetto. That's like the caller said earlier. See, this is how black males get their bragging rights. Yeah, I got all the women in town that I want. Well, welcome to the slave plantation. That was true then and it's true now. So what? If they're black. Well, I got some white ones too. Well, the only reason you've got any white ones at all is because the white supremacist said he's going to allow you that. All right? That's so you can be an example of being a pimp. Pimps are really effeminized. We look at them as being masculine, but they're really feminine. And the old-fashioned pimps used to walk around looking feminine, all dressed up with lipstick and powder on their face and long fingernails, painted gold, and platform shoes, bell-bottom trousers, real flamboyant, riding around in a gold Cadillac, and you say he's masculine. He's not masculine at all. Why? That's just an updated version of somebody who's feeding all white slavery. White slavery ain't the same as black slavery. Black slavery is taken for granted. White slavery, that's something special. Okay? So in answer to the latest question, if she was asking a question, yes, the black female and her behind, all right, they're playing that up, but that's the secondary behind. Because what they are doing little by little, they are grooming the black male to pay attention to that black female's rear, not her vagina, all right? And then when they really get it updated, say, okay, now you all are ready to graduate to the next level. All you black males on the planet who like anal sex, okay? Now, the black female rear end is no longer top of the line. That's not premium sex. Premium sex for you black males is the white male anus. That's premium. Why? Because it's big and white.
Mr. Fuller, can you go back to page 343? And you stated this in the first hour. Maybe there were some that didn't get that. That statement that you had written here, where it says there's reason to believe under the list, is very important that we get that you get that out again. You see that?
There's reason to believe that a substantial part of the white supremacist racial sexual confusion strategy is to promote the concept that the vagina of the non-white female is of little or no value in the world of future sexual classifications.
Mm.
And I have that on page 343 of the 2016 Revised Expanded Edition of the Basic Textbook. That while the non-white female is of little or no value in the world of, and I have it in capital letters, future sexual classifications. The black female vagina, the non-white female vagina, will be almost, for most practical purposes, obsolete. What is that? I mean, that's of no value at all. I mean, hey, do anything with it. I mean, ban it. I mean, fill it up with concrete. I mean, we don't need it anymore. Anuses, white male anuses, that's the thing. And when it comes to vaginas, the white female vagina is going to be the crown jewel of all sexuality. That's it. That's the only thing of any value. The white female vagina, ultimately, according to the white supremacists and their plans, in my opinion, is going to be the only vagina that counts. That's the reproductive vagina for the future. The black female vagina is going to be nothing at all. And so you take, what's the strategy? To take all of the attention off of the black female vagina, count that as being worthless, something you don't want to go nowhere near, and then go to the anus, and then make the white male anus what the black male, and he's been groomed in the penitentiaries and all like that, but let him know through propaganda, hey, this is the crown jewel of sexuality for the black male. Look for the white male, ultimately. Now, that's not true right this minute. The average black person listen to me say that, say, oh, man, come on. I mean, hey, no way. No way. That's not for me, All right, but let this keep going like it's going, generation after generation. And the white male anus is going to be the new black vagina.
Wow.
That's according to the logic that they are using now, according to where the evidence seems to show.
Yes, sir.
White supremacists, I'm doing with all this sexual confusion.
Okay. On page 344, right in the middle, there was a question that was asked. It says, why do many, you wrote this in here, it says, why do many white supremacists, you see that? Why do many white supremacists, racist men and racist women, collectively, about halfway down the page, you see it?
Yes, why do many white supremacists, racist man and racist woman, collectively, directly or indirectly, approve of homosexual and or lesbian activity between and or among non-white persons? Answer: because many white supremacists have concluded that such acts involving non-white people will best help to weaken and confuse non-white people, thereby making it easier to dominate and mistreat them.
There it is.
Now, that's the whole program right there.
Right there.
The whole program. See, the white supremacists don't do anything that's not going to make white supremacists stronger and going to make non-white people, black people, sillier and weaker. Sillier and weaker. You get silly, and silliness leads to weakness. That's why, they say, stop acting silly. Get serious about something. A teacher will say that. A grandmother will say that. I mean, you got to be serious about this. I mean, anything that's going to be constructive, you be a little bit serious. And so I've heard non-white people in many instances, all kinds of circumstances, say what? Black people say what? Oh, man, you're too serious. When black people need to be serious more than anybody on the planet. Why? Because of our condition, that's why. Ain't no such thing as us being too serious. Ever. Being in the prison shape that we're in.
Okay. TalkTainmentRadio.com. We go where you go. Just download the TalkTainmentRadio.com app to your cell or to your tablet. Podcasts are available. That's radio the way it should be heard. Coming up next, Javari, I think that I may have time to answer your question. That caller that just called, you can call back. The phone lines are open. And then we'll have Mr. Fuller speak about his book at 1:15 the hour. All that and much, much, much more coming up next here on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
TalkTainmentRadio.com is proud to present the compensatory concept. It is an effective system for countering the effects of white supremacy. TalkTainmentRadio.com is able to carry the first hour. However, the cost for the second hour is exceeding our limited budget. That is why we ask for your kind assistance in keeping the second hour on the air. If you believe like we do, help us in this struggle for justice. Go to the gold donate button on the TalkTainmentRadio.com web page and hit the gold donate button. That's the gold donate button. And please donate. Help us to keep the second hour of the compensatory concept on the air. Thank you.
Think you can't afford life insurance? Think again. You might be surprised at how affordable it can be. 80% of Americans overestimate the cost of life insurance. Maybe it's time to swap a few small expenses for some big peace of mind. Life insurance can protect what matters most, and it's the right thing to do. Let's talk today. So call me, Marvin Smith, at American Family Insurance at 614-986-3105. You can also visit my website at marvinsmithinsurance.com. American Family Life Insurance Company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin, 53783.
For the best home fragrance and beauty products, shop Ash Kickin online.
That's ASHKICKIN.
Made with 100% natural quality ingredients and handcrafted with your family in mind, Ash Kickin products are better than those other guys. Ash Kickin candles, incense, body butter, face moisturizer, and hair moisturizer are priced just right, and you can get yours at 10% off with coupon code TALK17. Support this 100% black-owned business and get your home and body smelling and feeling all right.
That's ASHKICKIN.
Shop Ash Kickin online at www.ashkickin.com.
Stand by for an important announcement for renters and investors. You have probably heard about this bad economy and high foreclosure rate. I'm here to bring you hope. Every foreclosed property is a blessing or a deal for a new buyer or investor. These properties are selling every day all over Central Ohio for several reasons. They are equity rich, worth tens of thousands of dollars above their price. There is down payment money available and remodeling funds if needed. Don't let the doom and gloom news keep you from your dream of home ownership. Call Linco Realty today at 865-9614. That's 865-9614. Call now. Always remember, these times, like all times, are good times if we but know what to do with them. They also have programs for investors who want to get off the couch and run with the big dogs. Call Linco today at 865-9614 or log on to repohomeslist.com.
This is Al Edmondson, owner of a Cutter Brother Rest Barbershop. I'm calling on all barbers and beauticians. It's time for us to unite as one. We can serve our communities better together. Join the Ohio Black Barber Beauty Network. For more information, visit www.obbn.org or call 614-427-3226 to get more information. Be the change that you want to see in your community. Join our network.
Looking for something special for your club or group? Take a trip. Cruise planners will help you plan the event of a lifetime. Explore exotic places from Africa to Asia, Bermuda to Las Vegas to Hawaii, with special offers that make it affordable and exciting. click on to www.greatgetawaytrips.com for great deals, or call today at 614-707-SHIP. That's 614-707-7447.
Sex Code War by Kahari Inaharo, the author of the Essence Magazine bestseller Race Code War, is releasing his second book, Sex Code War. Be on the lookout for Sex Code War.
If you or someone you know is abusing drugs and or alcohol and want to stop the abuse, contact APDS at 1409 East Livingston Avenue. Office hours are 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily and 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday. APDS is certified by the Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services and primarily funded through the Adam H. Board. Fees are based on your income and Medicaid is always accepted. For more information, call 614-253-4448.
Here's an idea. You've heard of the notion of pay it forward? It comes from the 2000 movie Pay It Forward. Basically, the premise is helping someone with no expectations of payback, providing assistance to someone, passing information on, simply doing a good deed for a total stranger, and instead of allowing them to pay it back, ask them to pay it forward. Doing favors for other people and asking them to do the same. The principle is the same as multi-level marketing, except that instead of soap or vitamins, it's generosity between strangers that is being passed on. Pay It Forward is mentoring, it's volunteering in your community, it's shoveling a neighbor's snow, or cutting an elderly person's grass for them, or taking a senior to the store. Don't wait for someone else to do something good. Do it yourself. It starts with you. Talktainment Radio strongly embraces the notion of pay it forward. In fact, we just did.
Live call-in talk show. Dial 1-877-932-9766 and join the conversation here on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Go ahead. Make my day.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Michael, we're bigger than U.S. Steel.
If anything in this life is certain, if history's taught us anything, it says you can kill anyone.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. Never tell anybody outside the family what you're thinking again.
You got the power.
Alrighty. TalkTainmentRadio.com. We go where you go. Just download the TalkTainmentRadio.com app to your cell or to your tablet. That's radio the way it should be heard. My name is Mr. Bobby. I am the co-host on the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. And today's topic is sexual confusion. And if you missed the first hour, you might want to go back, or you should go back and review that and hear what Mr. Fuller has to say. Some notes here. To Mr. Partridge, I will try to get to your question for Mr. Fuller today, but I don't think I'm going to, but I can. Javari, still learning. You would be up next, but I got to take a caller first. And for people who are new to the show, in particular Frank Wigfall, we are on, Mr. Fuller is on every Wednesday on this program from 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. Eastern time. You can call in at 1-877-932-9766, or you can Gmail me, the numeral 7, Mr. Bobby, BOBBY, at gmail.com, and I'll hopefully get a chance to read your Gmails. But right now, we have a caller on the line. Caller, go ahead and with your question for Mr. Fuller.
Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Fuller, talking about sexual confusion. I was speaking to this brother about all these black women in the city that I live in. There's so many black women between the ages of 20 and 30 who are in lesbian relationships in the city that I live in, and it's just epidemic. And when I mentioned this to another friend, he says, well, maybe because there's just not enough men. And I said, no, that's not the reason. Because there's brothers on every corner looking for a woman, and when me and you were coming up, the only competition we would have for a woman would be from another man. Now these young men who are my nephew's age, who are like 25, they got to deal with these other black women who are going after the same woman that they want. So, but here's the question. Our sexuality, the white supremacists, they got everything to do with our behavior, right? I mean, black people want to say that they were born gay. But as I said last time I talked to you, the white supremacists control all black people's sexuality, but regardless of whether we think we were born gay or not, they are in control of all of our sexuality. What would be your response to that?
The answer is yes. If the question is, are they in control of our sexuality, the answer is yes, absolute. As in all other 9 areas of activity, economics, education, they're in control of our education. When we say we want to be educated, when people who are crossing oceans in rickety boats, and they say, well, where are you going with your children in your arms and all like that on this rickety boat that may sink before you get anywhere? Well, we're trying to find out which way the white people went. Well, why are you trying to find out which way the white people went? So we can catch up with them. That's why. That's why I'm in this boat. Well, why are you trying to catch up with white people? Because they have things. Well, why is it that they have things? Because they are educated. If I get with some white people in my rickety boat with my child in my arms, I might can get educated, and then I can get the things that I see that white people have, because then I will have education. See? So this is how the white supremacists want it. And it's the same way with sexuality. They control that. They control how we think. What we think of sex and what it is and what it isn't and how it should be conducted. They are in absolute control.
Okay.
And the way they're controlling that now is to say that the white male anus ultimately is going to be in the new black vagina. And they're going to take the black females, mate them with each other, because they're giving up on the black male, because you said, like the caller said, it's a black male on every corner looking for a black female. That is true. But that black male standing on that corner, and I've seen this all of my existing days, hey, baby, don't you want to talk to me? That's a standard question. Hey, baby, you want to talk to me? Now, the answer to that question is, talk to you about what? About me and you getting together. That's what it's going to come down to. Getting together. See, that's what I mean by asking a lot of questions. And every black female has finally done this. This is why when they got the final question, they say, talk to you about what? Well, talk to you about you and me. You and me doing what? Getting in the bed. That's really what it's about. Okay? Then after we get in the bed, then what? Okay? Get in the bed again. Well, wait a minute. It's an eviction notice on the dresser. So how are we going to have a bed to get in when we do what we do? If that eviction notice is going to say that the bed is going out there in storage somewhere, and we're going to be in the street in about 3 days. See, the black female is tired of hearing that all over the world, because this is what the black male is delivering. Because that's all he's thinking about is pimping. Okay? We have been trained to be that way by the white supremacists. And the black female, logically speaking, is giving up on us. They don't want to. They tell us that. I don't want to, I love you, porgy. I mean, you can't do much for me, but I still love you. And don't let anything take me away from my porgy. This is best. I'm your best. I want to be your best. But it ain't nothing there with you. you just about shucking and jiving and whatnot. And, that's all right to start off with, but you're going to do this forever and never do nothing else? And so then the black female looks at the other black female and say, you know what? I think we can come up with, some plastic sex or something. And I think we can roll around with each other. And we can do more for each other as two black females than all these black males out here put together can do for any one of us. All right? So that's the conclusions they're coming to, gentlemen.
Wow.
Black males. I'm telling the whole black male world, the white supremacists have set this up for that to happen. All right? We can't deliver. We stand up there talking about I do, the few of us that will go that far, but you can't deliver on what you're I doing about. Talking about what you're going to do for her. You ain't got a guarantee about whether or not you'll have a roof over your head tonight if the white supremacists decide they're going to take it away from you. And that's black males all over this planet.
Let's go
you can't deliver nothing, and the black female is getting sick of it, okay? So that's why they are mating with each other. And the next thing you know, now here's where the white supremacist is going to use the black female. He's going to put black females in some combat boots and mate them with each other, and they'll always be with each other because they're going to die in each other's arms on battlefronts. That's the wave of the future. Look for it.
Okay.
There's going to be a whole lot of black females who are eligible, highly skilled. They're going to have the skills now to be skilled combat troops.
Wow.
And they are going to go to the front together and die in each other's arms for the strength of the system of white supremacy. That's the plan.
That's the plan. Let's take a phone call. Go ahead, caller, before we have Mr. Fuller talk about his book. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I was the caller who was asking about the sexual exploitation of the black woman.
Oh, okay.
I just kind of wanted to follow up a little bit into being that our choices are getting kind of slim. Well, I guess I want to say I'm a single mother with 3 kids, never been married. As in today's society, the black single woman is looked down upon, especially by our black men. I'm hoping to get married one day. I want to be married, but it just seems, I'm having a hard time. So I just want Mr. Fuller to kind of speak on the single black mother. Basically, should I give up the hope of marriage? What, in his opinion, can I look forward to as far as a relationship or marriage being a single black woman with kids?
Okay. Mr. Fuller?
Well, we really can't be married even when we are married in the system of white supremacy. See, all of us, black males, black females, black people in general, non-white people in general of this planet, we have got to get rid of the system of white supremacy and replace it with a system of justice, and then come up with quality people who become universal man and universal woman, rather than be the entire planet being populated by white supremacists and their victims. We've got to get rid of the system of white supremacy. There's no way to keep trying to squirm around it. As long as we're trying to squirm around it, we're going to be miserable. That's endless misery, because it's a prison camp. There's no way to be happy forever in a prison camp without being delirious or in a diminished state of mind. I mean, accommodating prison conditions, like we are getting to the place where we've gotten there, really, where that's what we're trying to do. Well, I know I'm in this system of racism, but I don't have time to fool with that. I can't solve the race problem. I'm just one little tiny person. So I got to try to be happy. Well, you're trying to be happy under conditions that are designed to keep you from being happy. All right? So we're going to have to get rid of the system. That's got to be the priority. you may not ever get a mate, like under battlefield conditions, that you can really call your own and have some type of order. We try to do that. That's trying to, get our business together on a slave ship, which is what the entire planet is. It's a slave ship in the system of white supremacy. So we are trying to adjust to normal conditions on a slave ship. This is not normal. We are not under normal conditions. So we're not going to get a normal effect in our daily existence. People talk to me, like the ladies calling right now. What do you do? How can you have happiness? All I want is just a nice little house, and I want some children, and I want a decent husband who goes to work and whatnot, and I just want to get on with my life. How can I do that? It ain't going to happen in the system of white supremacy. The white supremacists are getting so sick of us asking for stuff, asking for normalcy, asking for a decent life, that they are doubling down and making it impossible for this to happen. Because that's what white supremacy is. That's what racism is for, making it impossible for black people to do anything of constructive value. So it's like I said at the earlier part of this program, lifting that passage from the movie Saving Private Ryan. Hey, you are talking about feeling good in a feel-bad situation. You got to make the situation not a feel-bad situation, and then you can feel good.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, on a battlefront, there's no feeling good except just a few moments here and a few moments there.
Okay.
That's the best we can expect out of this garbage.
Mr. Fuller, before we talk about your book, it's very important that you tell or give the compensatory term that you came up with for justice, because we have new people who listen to the program all the time. I get tons of Gmails, and they ask questions about that. So for those who are listening, who are tuned in right now, Mr. Fuller, give the compensatory answer to what justice is.
The definition for justice, compensatory definition. It is as follows. I came up with this in 1994 because there is no legal definition for the word justice, which is why it's so elusive. So I'm trying to nail it down so you can measure it. You'll always know it on your job and everything else. One, it has two parts. I came up with this in 1994. Part one, guaranteeing that no person is mistreated. In order to have justice, you've got to have that part one, guaranteeing that no person is mistreated. You got to guarantee that. If you're in a situation on your job, anything like that, and there's one person who is being mistreated, you don't have justice nowhere in that place, because one person is being mistreated, period. Okay? And number two, guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help. Underline constructive. You got to guarantee that no person is mistreated, and you got to guarantee that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help. That's 24 hours a day, everywhere on the planet, all the time, without fail. It's never been done, no place in recorded history, by any people that ever have existed in recorded history. Maybe in pre-recorded history it existed. But do you have a condition anywhere on this planet where no person, any village, where no person is being mistreated, and every person that needs constructive help is getting it, including the person that needs help the most? It's a very simple formula, but nobody has ever achieved it because nobody has ever been serious about trying to make it happen. We give lip service to it. But that thing called justice, I looked at a whole bunch of definitions of justice. I finally asked a lawyer, what's the legal definition for justice? And he said, in the Northwestern Hemisphere, in what we call the United States, justice is whatever the Supreme Court says it is. And I said, is that true? And he said, yeah. I said, well, Supreme Court justices, they change. I mean, all the time. They change their own decisions sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
He said, yeah, that's what I mean. It's whatever they say it is. I say, that's no standard at all. I say, you got to have a world standard. And so I came up with one that I think will hold up until someone comes up with one better, because I'll adopt it. Because I did a whole lot of head scratching to come up with that simple definition, guaranteeing that no person is mistreated. That's part one, not the two parts. And guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help. Now, I'd like to ad-lib on that. Because the average person will say, well, that's out of the question. You're talking about utopia. I mean, well, you can call it what you want to. That would be justice. And we have seen symptoms of that by little things we see right in front of us every day. For instance, ambulance coming down the highway. Now, you're guaranteeing that the person that needs help the most gets it. By what? When you pull over to the side. Now, you're in a hurry. You got to get somewhere. You have an appointment. You got people waiting on you at the train station. You told them you would be there at a certain time. But now you got to do what? You and everybody else. Well, this person, this one person in this long highway that's in that ambulance, is just one in there, all right? And he's half drunk. That's what his problem is. But you got to pull over, all right? He got drunk, and he fell, and he hit his head. So some ambulance drivers came and picked him up, put him in the back of the ambulance. He's coming down the highway. It's rush hour. Now, all of these hundreds of people got to do what? Pull over. Why? This is the person that needs help the most at this moment in that situation. Now, we understand that, but we don't understand that on a world scale. See what I mean? That's why I say that can be done, because we have examples all the time of people doing it. You know, everybody's inconvenienced. That truck driver that's trying to get this load through, and his cell phone is jumping off the hook. I mean, you know, saying you're supposed to be such and such a place. Man, you're a truck driver. You got all this cargo there, and those people are waiting on you at that warehouse, and you got to be there. And you're out there on the highway talking about the ambulance and whatnot. Yeah, well, the ambulance is here. I'll hold it up so you can hear it. I'll photograph it, you know. Y'all think I'm lying. I mean, the ambulance is coming through. It's stuck in traffic back behind me. I've been sitting here for 15 minutes. That's the way that works. That's the way the whole world is supposed to be. All right?
All righty.
Okay.
Okay. Javari asked this. By the way, go to producejustice.com to get the book that Mr. Fuller has, the United Independent Compensatory Code System concept. I'll let Mr. Fuller go ahead and explain what justice was so that people could know and order this book.
And in the book, I talk about justice. Replace white supremacy with what? With justice. Not black supremacy, not anything other than guaranteeing that no person is mistreated. That's real simple. That's kindergarten simple. Guarantee that no person is mistreated. You know what mistreatment is, all right? And two, guarantee that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help when that help is needed.
Yes. ProduceJustice.com.
ProduceJustice.com. Okay. Go to that site, and you can get the textbook.
Okay, last question here comes from Javari. I think I got it in, Javari. It says, I would like to ask Mr. Fuller, can we overcome white supremacy while we're still practicing their religion, which disintegrates us and tells us, anyway, I messed up that word, tells us to obey our masters and that females are filthy on their periods.
Well, whatever is going on, we can just go right to what we've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 minutes, and that is, hey, does your religion guarantee that no person is mistreated, and does it guarantee that the person that needs help the most gets the most constructive help? And that's a question. Put a question mark behind it and wait for the answer.
Oh, wow.
I don't care what the person's religion is. I mean, if your religion doesn't guarantee that, I mean, we'll talk about that later after we get to justice we're talking about.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fuller. Wow, that came up on me real fast. TalkTimeAtRadio.com, the world's greatest radio the way it should be heard. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Mr. Fuller.
Thanks for listening to the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio.
The most important question in all racial matters is why. One should always ask it.
Radio, the way it should be heard.
You've got the power. The world's greatest radio. TalkTainmentRadio.com.